I can't keep telling people that he's different. You get it?
You fight pay-per-view. Pay-per-view.
Tank sit there and call himself the one. We know this. You got that type of mindset. It's unreal. The only thing I want to say, the best is to come.
No, it's personal. I want to fuck his face up because I don't like the way he looks. I'm gonna fuck Tank up from round one, non-stop, and he's gonna get knocked down one round.
Bruh, look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No.
Momentarily jolted Romero.
Guys, I've just noticed my mic was on mute, so apologies for that. Technical error, stupidly from me, but I'll just start that over again. So, thanks for coming to Fight Thoughts, and I'm Jamie from Boxing Life. If you not come to my channel before, and basically the way I kind of work this is I'm going to break down both. I'm going to break down the fight between Davis and ROLLY this weekend. Kind of go for a presentation, going over the event and stuff like that. So feel free to comment in the chat as well, guys. If you've got any questions about the fight or your own thoughts or prediction, make sure to put it in the chat. I'd love to hear it, and I'll get back to as many as I can. And yeah, if there's any other questions around the boxing world in general, happy to answer about obviously Canelo, Triple G, but I'll get into the presentation now and kind of just talk about the event itself. So if you just give me 1 second. All right. So first off, start with the undercard, and there was actually some big names on there. I wasn't really too sure who was on it until I looked at it yesterday. But obviously Lara's on there. He's fighting Gary O'Sullivan, who's also like a big puncher. So it's kind of a boxer puncher matchup. And I also forgot Lara's got the WBA regular title, middleweight title. So yeah, I forgot that he actually had that. Obviously just assumed Golovkin had it, but he's obviously the super champion. So I very much expect Lara to win that, if I'm being honest. Gary O'Sullivan, he was a big puncher, as we know, and it's probably a good payday for him. But I can just see Lara kind of just being too awkward for him, if I'm being honest. But you never know. Gary O'Sullivan could have a puncher's chance, obviously. And Alejandro Ramos, I believe, and Luke Santamera. I'm not too sure about those two guys. But yeah, I've heard some people in the press conference talk about Ramos. I think it was Ramos saying he's quite good. So yeah, I'd love to maybe watch that. And Luis Arias, obviously seen him fight a few times. Who's Jarrett Hurd? I believe he's fought as well. So that'll be interesting to see how he gets on. But apart from that, yeah, I think it's an okay undercard. I've seen better. But yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of watch some of those other fights. Probably the Lara Gary O'Sullivan is the one I'll watch on the night. So yeah. Now let's get on to both guys. Obviously, Tank is the smaller guy. That's obvious. Smaller reach is he's actually got a bigger reach for being the smaller guy. Romero, though, he's a bit taller than him. And if you just kind of look at, his previous fights and just like his training footage and whatnot, he's a big dude. Like, he is like a big guy. And yeah, I think that physicality from Romero, I don't think it's going to cause too many problems, but he can definitely whack and he can use that power to his advantage. But we all know Tank, there's something special about him, and he is a powerful guy. So I don't think it won't cause too much of a difference for me anyway. So Tank's last 3 opponents, obviously Isaac Cruz, he was meant to face ROLLY before he had to pull out. And it was quite a hard display. It was quite difficult. Obviously broke his hand, which isn't good for anyone, I guess, when you're in the ring, the top level like that. And I think he handled himself pretty well. But you have to give respect to Isaac Cruz coming in and really giving Tank a hard fight. Obviously, they're quite similar sizes, and Cruz is a come-forward Mexican fighter, so he was always going to kind of cause some sort of problems for Tank with that pressure. But overall, I kind of just looked at the stats, and that I looked at some of the highlights for that fight again. I just feel like, it was close, but, overall, Tank was connecting more. He was throwing more, even despite even just having that one hand. And the previous one to that was obviously Barrios, and quite a lot of people are comparing not Romero in terms of stylistically with Barrios, but like in terms of they're similar size. Like, I think Barrios is a bit taller, but it's more in terms of how Tank will kind of deal with that kind of longer reach, a bigger guy. And I watched that fight today, and Tank, he had some pretty dodgy moments in that fight, but overall he came through and just when he had to, he stepped up, and that's when there's a special fighter, and Tank's definitely one of those in my opinion. And then obviously that Leo Santa Cruz fight, people don't give Leo Santa Cruz enough credit. I think he's a good fighter. He's obviously come forward Mexican kind of style, so Tank did a very good job in terms of handling that. And he was going to the body of Santa Cruz in that fight, and I'll kind of touch on that in a sec when I'm kind of breaking down what Tank needs to do. But yeah, I think he's got that was a good learning fight for Tank. And I loved how he kind of changed up in that fight as well. How he was boxing on the back foot, slipping, sliding, using his footwork, his jab, and counter punching. And that's what I think he needs in this fight. And sorry, apologies. And obviously he got that tremendous knockout with that uppercut. It's iconic for his career, when he'll look back. So yeah, I think his last 3 performances have been pretty good. Overall solid. He's had a couple of dodgy moments in them, but overall he's got through them. And yeah, it'll be interesting for Saturday. And ROLLY's last 3 opponents, I didn't know Sparrow or Martinez. I remember Anthony Yedget from the World Boxing Super Series. He was in that, I believe. But, I watched the Martinez and Sparrow fight, and I was actually kind of shocked by how methodical Romero is. He'll throw big shots, and he'll kind of like look at his work. So he'll throw a big right hand or a big left hook, and kind of sometimes he'll like pause and kind of admire his work, especially if he connects. And that is where I'm really worried about him for this fight. If let's say he does land a good shot on Davis, he could leave himself open. And Avery Sparrow and Jackson Martinez, no disrespect to them, I thought they actually put on some really good fights. The Martinez fight, you could arguably say that could have gone his way. I thought that was a very close fight compared to what the judges put on there in the scorecards. And, I'll talk about some areas of weakness for Romero, but yeah, it kind of makes me a little bit worried for him, despite his physicality and power. But I'll touch on that in one sec. So, keys to victory for both guys. Guys, if you're new here, make sure to comment in the chat as well. If you've got any comments or thoughts on even what I'm thinking, put it in the chat and I'll get back to you at the end of this. But getting back onto this. So, for ROLLY, I think he needs to use the jab. Just from watching those fights, he does use it. He kind of probes with it, and he uses big power jabs as well. And that really, it does push back his opponents. It works. However, he doesn't throw it enough for me. For me, he's always looking to throw the left hook followed up by the right, or the right and the left and the right. Yeah, so it's just, he needs to be using that jab a lot more. And he actually can box a little bit as well. I was quite surprised just from watching those fights again. He can move. He can get out of the way. And I think it's more because, especially in the first round, he's throwing big, solid punches and he tires himself out. And this is where I'm a bit, you'd hope going into a big pay-per-view fight, they will have worked on that jab to set up other shots. And that's what I think he needs to do. He can't just be throwing the straight right followed with the left hook or the left and the right all the time. And he needs to be using his reach a bit better against the smaller Tank Davis to push him back and apply that pressure to set up those shots. That's really key for me. So we'll find out, obviously, on Saturday if he actually uses it. He seems like a very stubborn guy when he's in the ring. He just wants to go for the knockout, and that's a good sign of someone that wants victory. But it's not that I think he loses his head, but he just he just needs to be a bit more mindful and be a bit more of the boxer now and again, and use that jab to set up the shots and keep his opponent at bay. Because I'll touch on some negatives, which you guys will see soon. So, as I kind of just talked about in this fight, I feel his left hook is definitely dangerous. From watching those fights against Marinez and Sparrow, oh my God, and even Yijit, the left hook is brutal from him. And he has this wide looping left hook, which can do some damage. I'm not going to lie, I don't think a lot of guys could take those shots at lightweight. Personally, I think he's a big puncher just from those fights. Yeah, he didn't, necessarily knock guys out, but he does kind of startle them when he lands. And, Davis, he can get clumsy at times. He can get hit. He needs to watch out for that. So Romero, I think he needs to, look to use the jab followed up by the hook. I think that's a good move to keep the southpaw, at bay. The good thing is he's got the reach and he's got that size. He can hook over Davis's jab. So it's definitely a weapon I can see him do. And we'll just kind of have a look at here. He just goes right around the guard, and yeah, he's just kind of got this. It's this very wide looping left hook, which I really think is great. And you can kind of see them from Figueroa. He's just absolutely destroyed from Romero. He's got the power, clearly. Yeah. So you can kind of see it loop. Yeah, just right on the knuckle. Perfect shot. And Davis just needs to watch out. He can't, he needs to make sure his guard's up, because that's what Romero throws a lot, is these wide looping left hooks and then followed up with that right. But I'll get on to what Davis can do soon. For me, this is the key, because you guys can probably guess where I'm going in terms of how I think this fight's going to go, but he needs to create a lot of doubt going into this fight. And I mean, when I say that, I mean in the first round, he needs to make it messy. He needs to make it horrible for Davis and get in on him early, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I don't think I think Davis is going to want to check him out, see what he does in those first few rounds. Davis usually kind of does that anyway. But ROLLY, he needs to stick it on him. because going off those last 3 fights, yes, he can cause an upset, absolutely, but he is simply not. He can't afford not to give it a go in those opening rounds. My only worry is if he does go with a tactic like that, like all the trash talk that he's going to knock him out in the first round, could he just gas himself out? Because that's what I kind of noticed. He kind of does throw big, huge shots, and he gets tired, and that's when he kind of starts to go on the back foot. Watch the Sparrow fight, watch the Marinas fight. He kind of gasses out a little bit and then tries to use his footwork so he can get back his energy again. So, yeah, but I think for Tank, he does get caught cleanly, and I think that's probably one of Romero's best chances early in the fight, sticking it on Davis, and it will be a test for Davis to get kind of through that. But you never know. Davis could counter it, which we'll kind of get onto in a sec. And here's just some clips of Romero. Sorry, I'll start that again. He kind of gets countered quite a lot. Especially, I had to flip this around to get for copyright reasons, so I couldn't do it the other way. So I'll show that once more. He just gets a bit careless, and I can just see Davis timing him with his left and his right hand. There's just some clips of him throwing that, probing with the jab a little bit, and he gets caught still. He's very methodical, but that left hook is still, to the body. He just loops it round, and that's going to be a real danger. Davis can't be standing right in front of him like that all the time. He's not the fastest either, but he certainly can bang. So, talking about that, let's get on to Davis now. And I think what he needs to do early in this fight, opening 6 rounds, he just needs to box. He needs to use counter punching. That is absolutely key. If you guys have ever watched my breakdown before of Davies, you'll know that he's a very good mover, actually. As much as he's a very big puncher too, he's a good boxer, first and foremost. He's very skillful. He can shoulder roll. He can use waist movement. He can pivot. He can roll with the punches. He's a very slick fighter, actually. And the fact that he's a southpaw too, he's very difficult to hit sometimes. I think when he does get hit, he can get a bit shocked. But overall, I think he's just a tremendous boxer, and he's also a great counter puncher, especially when guys throw big shots trying to land on him. And you'll bring in that left uppercut counter or that right hook counter. He is very good at that. So here's just some clip, just him countering the shot there. I'll show you that again. And like I showed you in that clip with Romero, it's like he could get, it's clear if Romero isn't careful, Davis will definitely time him with his own. I'll show you that. I'll just show you that clip again with that left hook, that left straight counter. So he really needs to be careful of that. And like I said, Romero isn't the fastest guy. He'll put a lot of power behind his shots, and then you'll kind of admire his work. And then before he knows it, he gets countered. So he needs to watch out for that one. And this is just I just quite like this clip of Davis just using his skills, probing with the jab, moving his head, using footwork, shoulder roll. He's difficult to get to. He's a very slippery customer. And he obviously gets clipped there, but I just really like, how he can come forward, he can go back. He's a very slick operator. And that's what I really like about him. And especially as Romero starts to tire, I think it will be an issue. Can he keep up with that? And I think this is going to be key. And Davis does this a lot. He attacks the body early on in the fight against a lot of guys he's fought. He'll, just single shots to solar plexus with his left hand or hooks to the body. He's very good at going to the body early on, jabs to the body as well. And naturally, if you're getting hit over and over in the body early on, you're gonna lower your guard. It's natural. If you've ever boxed before, you'll know if a guy keeps targeting the body, you will eventually kind of lower your guard as you're expecting it. And, you know, Davis is actually very good at throwing feints and probing, as I showed you. And that's where he can set up those shots up top. And one of his best shots that he does is obviously that leaping hook with his right hand. And that's probably, it's a signature kind of move for him. You know, you've seen probably one of the knockouts, but I just love this one with Barrios. I think it's this one anyway, this clip. So that's just him going to the body, you know, that left uppercut when he's... Sorry, I was thinking ahead of the next point, but it kind of leads on to it anyway with the body shots. And up close, that's one of when Tank utilizes his power when he goes to the body. That left uppercut. And this is the thing, he changes it up. You know, think about Leo Santa Cruz, you know, where he goes up top instead of the body. You know, he's very dangerous. And, you know, Romero, he looks awkward at times when he's getting attacked to the body. If you watch those fights, I was just talking about the Sparrow fight even, and this is what I'm talking about. Sparrow was making him feel uncomfortable at times. You know, even jabs to the body. You know, you could tell Romero, that's when he starts to back up. And like we was talking about, that right hook, I think he needs to set that up. But it comes down to him actually going to the body of Romero. And I'll just show you obviously the Barrios clip here. And you can see, like I said, with the feints, he sticks out his hand here. And because he'd been going to the body of Barrios, Barrios kind of lowers his guard. And I'll show you this again. You see he kind of lowers his guard as Davis is about to throw. And that's the great thing about that leaping hook. You know, Roy Jones is brilliant at it. Obviously, like people like Floyd Patterson, Rocky Marciano. It's kind of that style, you know, especially what they used to do. They used to go to the body with that left hook, and then they'd switch up top. And it's just such a dangerous punch. And that is one of Davis's best weapon. And the reason why I think he should set up this punch is ROLLY is always leaving his chin open. He's always, you know, like I said, he admires his work when he lands one big shot and forgets that he needs to go in the defensive. He's very poor at that. You know, he'll land and then you'll kind of admire knowing that he's hit him hard, and then you'll forget and get clipped himself, as you guys saw. So those are kind of some of the kind of tactics I think they should both employ if they want to win. And I guess that goes on. I did a poll before I came on tonight, guys, and 500 votes, and you can tell who everyone pretty much thinks going to win. Pretty much, you know, 75% for Tank, KO, Romero 13%. Here, look, you never know. He's got big puncher. He's got a good puncher's chance in this fight, I believe, and yeah, I think he could clip him and could get the knockout. It's totally possible. I'm not saying it's not, but I just can't see Tank. Tank's too skillful, you know, he's to get into those firefights personally. Tank by points, 8%. The Romero KO at the bottom was meant to be TKO, but I'm sure most people probably thought that. So yeah, guys, that's kind of my thoughts on the fight. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the chat. I'm just going to have a little break and I'll be back in 1 sec. If you just stay for 1 second, I'll come back.
I can't keep telling people that he's different. You get it?
You fight pay-per-view. Pay-per-view.
Tank sit there and call himself the one. We know this. You got that type of mindset. It's unreal. The only thing I want to say, the best is to come.
No, it's personal. I want to fuck his face up because I don't like the way he looks. I'm gonna fuck Tank up from round one, non-stop, and he's gonna get knocked down one round.
Bruh, look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No.
Momentarily jolted Romero.
So guys, I'm back. Sorry, I just needed a little break there. And I'll obviously answer your questions in the chat and put them in there, and I'll kind of see what I'll kind of start from the beginning, and any super chats or anything that come in, I'll also answer those. I'll try and prioritize those over everyone else. But yeah, guys, comment in the chat. Let me know your thoughts on the fight. If there's any other, anything else in the boxing world you want to talk about, yeah, just comment in the chat too. So let's see who we got first. I can't speak Arabic, unfortunately, but yes, I think it is an interesting fight. I think stylistically, you know, it's a puncher versus a more boxer puncher, and it'll be interesting to see, you know, how both guys kind of cope in the kind of early rounds. That's what I'm interested in. Steve, thank you very much for the donation, man. I appreciate it. I hope you've been enjoying the content. Lots more to come, man, and thank you very much for that. Jimmy, Davis' career has been a huge disappointment. He's not fighting any of the top guys in 130, 135, 140. He's probably the biggest cherry picker in boxing. Well, is that because of someone like Floyd Mayweather, Mayweather Promotions having a big say in, you know, what he does? I think that's not helped. I think also a lot of the other fighters, you know, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, guys like that, you know, are all with different networks, and that makes it more difficult to actually get those fights. And obviously with his contract about to run out with Mayweather Promotions, will he go with someone else so he can get these big fights with the likes of Josh Taylor, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, whoever it is? I hope so, but I'm kind of just looking at the interviews and all the press conferences. It kind of seems like he is going to sign again with Mayweather Promotions, which is quite, yeah, you know, I'm not too sure about it. I hope he does move on, but it doesn't kind of look like it. Fitzspringer, I agree. He has to make it rough. Yeah, I think ROLLY needs to make it rough, definitely, especially in those open rounds. I think he just needs to put it on him, see how Davis reacts, and, you know, if he can't really get to him in the first couple of rounds and land some big shots, I think that's when he needs to start using his jab and just being a bit smarter about his approach. Because let's be honest, he can still bang, he can still hurt him, but he just needs to be very careful. Fitz again, still think he might do better than a lot of people think. Yeah, like I said, it's not like he's a bad fighter. I think he's got power behind him. He can bang. We've seen it. We've seen the knockouts. He does, you know, the good thing about him, you know, especially when you have a fighter at the ropes, if you throw a right hand, it can almost like hold them in place, and then he follows up with the left hook, and he does the same with the left hook and the right hand, and it does work. It works for him, and that's why he's been doing it. But he becomes a bit too, you know, guys start to pick up on him, what he's trying to do, especially in the Marinez fight and the Sparrow fight. They just picked up on it and were able to counter it. If you guys watched, if you're here for the breakdown part of this video, you will have seen, you know, him getting countered. And that was just one example. If you actually go and watch the fight, he gets countered a lot. And that's where I'm a bit worried for him, I think, because Davis is a good counterpuncher. So it's interesting. We'll definitely find out what happens, obviously, Saturday. But I think he might do okay. He might do okay in the opening rounds, but he'll start the gas, and that's when Davis will start to pick him apart. Well, Stokes, thanks for joining, man. Appreciate it. It should be a tremendously easy fight for Tank ultimately, but I have to admit, ROLLY has gotten me a lot more intrigued than I should be. Yes, I think it's good for the sport when you have an outrageous character coming in and just talking shit and winding up the opponents, because he is clearly annoying Tank. I'm not going to lie. Oh, sorry, I'm getting attacked by a bug. Yeah, he kind of... Sorry, I lost my train of thought because of that bloody bug. But yeah, I think, sorry, yeah, just because of his trash talking, it's entertaining. And let's be honest, the casuals love that kind of stuff, and it gets them interested. Think about Conor McGregor, the trash talking, and there's very few fighters that do that nowadays. The first one that comes to mind is Tyson Fury. And Tank, he's quite a quiet guy, let's be honest. And you can kind of tell he's getting wound up by ROLLY a little bit. But yeah, I think it has brought a lot more attention to this fight than probably it should. But, who cares? This is why we love this sport. Declan McCarthy, if he comes through this fight easy, who should he fight next? Oh, good question. Obviously, the obvious ones: Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez. Who else? Josh Taylor. There's been that talk. Yeah, one of those guys probably for me. That's who I think. But obviously, can't look too far ahead. Guys, let me know in the comments who you think Tank should fight as well. I'd love to hear who you think after this. Is there a guy within Showtime he could fight? Make sure to comment in the chat and let me know. Joette, did you break down ROLLY fights? I kind of did at the start of this stream. If you go back and you can see kind of my thoughts. I haven't broken down like full-on fights before. For him, I just kind of was watching a few over the last couple of days, just in preparation for this. So, and yeah, guys, keep the comments coming in the chat. Any questions around what's happening in the boxing worlds? If you think ROLLY's going to win, I'd love to hear, how you think he's going to win this weekend. Give me it in the chat. And also, what do you think? What do you think Tank needs to do to win? Obviously, a lot of people are going to just say, "Oh, it's a wipeout." But what do you actually think he's going to do to win? And also, guys, make sure to like the video if you're here. Really helps out the channel too. Much appreciated. Will, what are you saying, man? I enjoy your training breakdown videos. How much research do you do to get those made? Yeah, quite a lot, actually. Those take me quite a while because basically I just have to go through a lot of, training footage online, go through interviews and articles. And yeah, that's kind of what I do. And I just basically collate it all, usually in a kind of a Word document. But it's a lot harder than you think. Can take me up to, usually it takes me like a week solid to get that all together, including the video footage and the editing. So yeah, that's kind of, my process of doing it. Obviously the fun part for me is editing it and putting it all together. But the research part can be quite a drag, looking at interviews and collating it to make sure that you guys enjoy them, which you obviously do. So, and Will, if you're still here, let me know a training breakdown video you would like to see from a fighter, and I've got my notepad with me, so I'll definitely put it down on the list. Miss Joette, again, thanks for coming. Honestly, hate that guy so much. Who do you hate? Is it ROLLY or Tank, or is it me? Let me know. How would you say Davis Cambosis going? That's a very good question. I don't know. I think my first initially just thinking about it, I could probably see Tank winning that. I think he's just a lot more slicker. If you guys haven't seen my tactical overview for Haney versus Kambosos, I've got that up. You guys can go watch that, where I break down the tactics both guys could potentially use in that fight. So, yeah. But in terms of that fight itself, I'd probably lean more towards Davis, if I'm being honest. I think Kambosos would make it a very hard fight. But yeah, I think Kambosos gets caught coming in too much. And we need to see Kambosos in with I was going to say a big puncher. Teofimo Lopez is a big puncher, but I would like to see him in with another like bigger guy after the Haney fight, just to see. But yeah, probably Davis, man, if I'm being honest. Fitzspringer, thanks for the comment again, man. He called out Haney in an interview. All the guys people want him to fight aren't on Showtime. Yeah, that's the issue. It's like, how can he get these big fights? This is the thing for me. It's difficult, especially if he's with Showtime and Mayweather Promotions. I can't think of one person who he could fight next after ROLLY. And maybe that's why he's seriously considering about moving on. Like I said, guys, comment in the chat if there's a guy in Showtime Davis could fight after this fight. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head right now. I can't think of anyone. Also, guys, let me know your thoughts on Canelo versus Golovkin too. If you've got any thoughts on that, comment in the chat. You might have seen my reaction video to that getting announced. So yeah, make sure to check that on. And let's have a look. Sorry guys, just catching up on these comments. Okay, Quezzo Grande 7 Big Cheesy. Hopefully Tank. I hope that's how you say it right. Hopefully Tank doesn't hold ROLLY, because ROLLY ain't going to let that slide. ROLLY ain't going to let that slide Tank like to hold and put his weight on top. Yeah, I don't think, like I said, I think obviously Davis is the smaller guy. If you were in this stream earlier, you would have seen me talk about that. And he likes to box and move. He can fight in the inside against the smaller guys, Gamboa or Isaac Cruz. He was able to fight up close, but against ROLLY, I don't think it's a smart thing to do. And obviously, if you watch him against other kind of taller opponents he's faced, he does box and move, uses footwork, uses counter punching, he even uses the jab. So I don't think Tank will fight him like that. I think he'll look to counter him with big shots, use the jab, use footwork. That's personally what I think anyway. Joette, thanks for the comment again. I think Tank is going to KO him for sure, and he's going to have to box him at first to figure him out. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a difficult one for Tank. Sorry, it's not a difficult. It's a difficult one for ROLLY if Tank decides to do that. I think for especially those kind of first 6 rounds, just box him, check him out. That's why I'm talking about how ROLLY needs to stick it on him early and put the pressure on him so he can't afford to think what he's going to do. In the kind of, if it goes kind of later past the 6 rounds. But yeah, I can probably see a Tank KO, if I'm being honest, in the kind of later rounds. I think Tank will kind of aim to go to the body of ROLLY early on. You see that often with him. So that's kind of what I think is going to happen there. Joette, make sure to comment. Let me know what round you think he's going to knock him out. Stella, I have got Tank winning this weekend by KO personally. However, I'm not saying ROLLY doesn't have a chance. I think, he's a big puncher. He has a puncher's chance, but I just think Tank's just a better fighter overall. And Joette again, sorry. Yeah, it was ROLLY. Yeah, he's a character, isn't he? I wouldn't say I hate him. I think he talks shit and brings more awareness to the sport, I guess. Brings more eyes, so can't complain about that. But yeah, I have to admit, some of the things he says are just outrageous. It's just immature, and you're like, whatever. You know, if you're a bit older, you don't really give a fuck. But if you're, you know, kind of young, you love that stuff. You know, kind of the Conor McGregor thing. Chris O'Grady, big. I'm just gonna call you Big Cheesy Man, okay? If that's all right. Remember how Tank would hold Santa Cruz and throw him in the ground? He did that with Pitbull Cruz. Yeah, no, I do remember it. But like I said, like they were kind of smaller guys, and even in terms of like reach as well, maybe Santa Cruz was a bit bigger than him, but not by much. You know, he was able to get up close and be a bit dirty and bully them on the inside, really. Especially that Santa Cruz fight. You know, he was just walking down Santa Cruz by the end of it. And I think Santa Cruz, it was like he threw like 3 right hands in a row, and Davis was like, catch it, and he was like, he just slipped, and then the left uppercut. That was poor from Santa Cruz. I remember that knockout, but yeah, I think, you know, Tank's a strong guy. You just need to watch his training footage. He's a strong little guy, man. Big Cheese again. When he gets mad, Tank grabs and throws you in the floor. Yeah, when he gets frustrated, yeah, he can kind of lose his cool a little bit. And that's what I mean. Maybe ROLLY needs to kind of do that to him. 100, Joette, again, thanks for the comment. 130, definitely Shakur Stevenson. I can't see anyone beating him personally. And 135, well, obviously Kambosos and Haney are fighting this weekend in a couple of weeks' time. So I guess one of those, whoever wins that, and then them probably between them and Haney and Davis, probably at 135. Yeah, I got you, Joette. Sorry about that. Who's on the Tank undercard? Stella, I'll get it up just for you right now. If you just give me 1 second, I will try and share it. Okay. Doing this right for you, Stella, so you better still be here. This is the undercard. Let me just, you guys can definitely see this, yeah. Just making sure. Okay, yeah. So here is the undercard for it. So obviously the only kind of fight I like out of all of them is probably Lara, Gary O'Sullivan, even though I expect Lara to probably dominate that fight. But Gary O'Sullivan's a big puncher, but let's be honest, Lara, I'd be shocked if Lara lost that fight. But Gary O'Sullivan, much like ROLLY, he's a big puncher. He has a puncher's chance. So it'd be interesting to see. And then the only other guy I kind of really know is that Arias. Obviously, I think he fought like Hurd recently. He's fighting a guy called Jimmy Williams. So, and I think this Ramos guy, they've been talking him up. Apparently, he's very good. And Eduardo Ramirez. Yeah, so there you go, Stella. And Antoine Russell, yes. If I'm being honest, I'm not watched too much of him. The only kind of reason why I kind of started watching him was because he obviously beat Ennis. I think he beat Ennis, I believe, in the amateurs to get into the Olympic team. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is the case. And yeah, I think he's a good fighter. Like I just need to see more of him against other guys, but I'm not really had the time to really study him that much. I'm more of a Boots Ennis kind of guy, if I'm being honest. Fitz. Well, Haney did what he had to get. Cambosis, the only guy on Showtime is probably Cruz again. I just remembered Frank Martin, though. I haven't seen any of his fights yet. That's what I mean. There's like no one left. And unless Showtime and Mayweather Promotions can somehow get these guys over to over to their network, I think Tank needs to move on. But we need to see what happens, I guess. Also, guys, comment below if there's any ROLLY fans, and if you think he can win this weekend, let me know how you think he's going to do it. Love to hear your thoughts. Obviously, Canelo Triple G also got announced, so make sure to comment about that if you want to. Like the video as well, and you got any video requests, feel free to put them in too. And yeah, just keep them coming, guys. I'm going to be here a little bit longer, maybe another half an hour or so. So I'll just keep answering until I kind of run out. And any super chats or anything like that would be much appreciated. I really appreciate the support, especially from Steve earlier. So I appreciate that, man. So I'm just catching up on where I was. Zach 134, can we hear your pound for pound list? I'll try this. Probably at the moment, I'd have to go Usyk, Canelo, Crawford. Need to make sure I'm counting. Obviously, I'm started at number 1 there, by the way. Crawford, Inouye. Why can't I think? Maybe I'd like to say Estrada. Probably Estrada. I do think he's a great fighter. Underrated as well. I know there's obviously the chat about him and Chocolatito, but I'll put Errol Spence Jr. in there. Obviously, I think Jermel Charlo deserves to be in it. And I can't think who else have I missed. I feel like I'm missing some really obvious. I'd probably still have to support my countryman, Josh Taylor. I still think he is talented enough to be in that list as well. And I feel like I'm missing some really obvious people, but that's kind of who I've put down at the moment. Big Cheesy, hoping they go 12 rounds to enjoy the fight with some chilas and carne asada. $80 a fight, man. Oh my God, that's ridiculous. $80. I didn't realize it was going to be that much. Dude, yeah, I hope you enjoy it as well. I think in the UK, they're showing it on Fight TV. I'm pretty sure that's where it's on. If not, I'll find a stream somewhere. Stella, Boots the best, 147. Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I'd probably, for me, 147, it would probably be Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, and then, Boots is not far behind him now. Give him 2 more fights, and I think he could take either of those guys. Koppa Chatta, I think that's how you say it. Sorry if I got that wrong. I'll call you Koppa. Gotta leave ROLLY's character. He's good for the excitement of the sport. Without smack talking, it would be very boring leading up to the fights. Yeah, exactly. Think about Muhammad Ali, Tyson Fury, Conor McGregor. People get attracted when people are talking shit, and it helps the sport. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I think yeah, it helps. As much as you might not like the guy. I don't really like his character personally. I think it's all just an act. But if he does it, if he pulls it off, fair enough. Kaya G, thank you for thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Stella again, thanks for the comment. Lara versus Spike. I know, yeah, I know. It's a bizarre fight actually, but stylistically it makes sense. A puncher versus a boxer. But I think Spike is going to be chasing Lara all night, and Lara's just going to be countering him, moving her in the ring. If you've ever watched Lara, that's what he kind of does. He just counters you and moves, counters and moves. He's a typical Cuban fighter. So, and Spike is just a come forward kind of puncher trying to land one big shot on you. Sack134, Canelo versus Triple G3 is stupid. Personally, I don't agree. I think it's good for the sport, especially, I know there's the debate around, Triple G being 40 years old, he's an old man now, but I still believe he can make it a competitive fight. Although he is very much the underdog, it's very unlikely that he'll win. I still think he has a chance. He's still a big puncher. He's still got one of the best boxing IQs you can think of. And I think it's his last chance as well to get a big payday. So I don't blame the guy for taking it, and also gives him one last shot to try and win. I know people say he should try and just unify the middleweight division, but he's always wanted that Canelo fight for the last 3-4 years. For Canelo, if anything, he's expected to win. If he looks bad in it, it's not good for him, especially if he's meant to be the face of boxing. So he needs to put on a brilliant performance, probably try and knock Triple G out. If he doesn't do that, people are going to be like, you couldn't knock out a 40-year-old, washed up Triple G. So the pressure's on Canelo in this fight more than it is Triple G. Triple G's got nothing to lose. So I think that's why it can be quite a competitive fight. But fair enough. I can understand why some people think it's stupid, but it is what it is. Koppa, I think Mayweather is trying to replace Tank. Potentially, there's all those rumors around Boots Ennis potentially signing with Mayweather. Hopefully, I really hope that doesn't happen, because I don't want that to go down the Tank route. However, the only good thing maybe about signing with someone like Mayweather, obviously he's with Showtime now. There is some big fights at welterweight. There's been chat about the Keith Thurman fight, I believe, with Ennis. Now, make of that what you want. I think that's more stupid than Canelo versus Triple G. I think Ennis will destroy Thurman, in my opinion. But yeah, I think obviously he's still with Showtime. Crawford's a free agent. Errol Spence is with Showtime, obviously, and even Ugas has been fighting in Showtime. So there's some big fights there for Ennis. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Canelo is not above Crawford, not after losing. Yeah, probably. Yeah, fair enough. The reason why I put Canelo there probably is, I think you think about all the names on his record compared to Crawford. I think he's fought bigger names than Crawford has. As much as Crawford is, I think, probably a better overall boxer than Canelo, I still think Canelo's beaten and faced better guys than Crawford has. Who's the best guy Crawford's fought? Sean Porter, Kell Brook. You compare the names of Canelo, it's nothing. Even if some of those guys, Canelo's got a Triple G on his record, for example, Crawford's got nowhere near that. But if Crawford was to beat Errol Spence, without a doubt, he'd be pound for pound number one. Larry, listen, who have you got? Usyk, Chocolatito, Canelo, Bud, Inoue. Chocolatito number 2. Man, I love Chocolatito. It's a kind of, those knockouts kind of, you thought that was the end of him when he got knocked out, but he came back strong. But yeah, that's fair enough. Chocolatito is still very good. Fitzper, Wilfred Benitez breakdown. Dude, I'll put that down on the list. I've not actually had that request before, so that is a first. You should see my list though; it's huge. All the requests I get, but I'd rather just get them all down, and then if I ever get to a point where I don't know what I'm gonna do, or I don't know a video idea, I look at that list, and that kind of helps me. Well, Stella, no one ever have Charly, I think getting undisputed should put you on a pound for pound list automatically. Yeah, I think if you're, and especially Charlo, he's kind of like won the belts one by one. He's kind of done it the hard way. Not like a kind of Teofimo Lopez who like just got that one win over Lomachenko and then was like fighter of the year and all that. It didn't make sense to me, but I think Charlo probably deserves to be in that list now. I think he's also improved a lot. He's matured. He used to get clipped a lot, but I think ever since that defeat to Harrison, he's really improved as a fighter. So, yeah. Larry listed, most of these current boxers are far too serious and nobody has an off persona like Rolly. He's one of the most fascinating guys, and if he wins, he will get legendary status. Okay, yeah, I totally agree. I think too many fighters these days take it all too seriously. But I don't blame them. Boxing's a hard sport. You guys will know. It's like, you can lose your life in the ring. It's not an easy thing, but it does make it a bit refreshing when you get a personality, a guy that's willing to talk shit, have fun, and yeah, it does help. It's helped sell this fight, that's for sure. And if he wins, the amount of shit I'll get on Sunday morning will be funny. But for thinking that Tank was going to win, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Guys, going to be here another like kind of 15-20 minutes, so feel free to comment your questions. I don't think there's been no people thinking Rolly's going to win on here yet. I don't think. If you do think he's going to win, make sure to comment in the chat. Let me know how you think Tank's going to win. He's going to win. Does he need to box first? Is he going to look for the KO early like Rolly? And let me know your thoughts on Canelo GGG. And make sure to like the video if you're here. If you're new here, make sure to like it. I'm taking any video requests too. And finally, I'm on Instagram at Boxing Life Blog. You guys can go check me out. And I'll get back to the comments. Okay, where was I? Well, thanks for the comment again, man. Respect the graph, mate, on those videos that you put that kind of time into it. I could request one, those training breakdowns. I'd say Shakur, Crawford, Roy Jones, Beterbiev, or Ennis. Well, those are very. I think I don't have Roy Jones on the list or Shakur for those, but I'll give you a hint. There's someone in that list you've just put who's going to be maybe not my next one, but the following one. Definitely, he's on that list. So yeah, keep an eye out, man. Yeah, he's so good. Yeah, I think he's just a tremendous fighter. His switch hitting, his jab, his defense. The guy can crack. The only thing is he needs to put some names on his record. He has to do that. Personally, I think he needs to do it pretty soon. And like I said, maybe that Keith Thurman fight is a good option for Ennis. We'll find out if that actually happens, or maybe like Ugas, that could be a good fight. And Crawford and Spence, if they're going to fight this year, those guys are busy. Why not put in Ennis with one of the guys they faced? I'd like to see that. I've also got a break. I don't know if any of you guys, if you're new here, I've got a breakdown of that of Jerome Ennis or Jerome Ennis. Sorry, you guys can check out if you want after this. And yeah, guys, comment if there's any last comments. Let me know. I think I'm at the end, pretty much at the end now. And any questions on the fight this weekend, let me know. or anything else in terms of video requests or anything else, let me know now. I'll kind of hang around for another couple of minutes if there's no one else. Stella, no, do not let Boots sign with Mayweather Promotions. They're going to have Boots chasing Baby Bellet's whole career. Yeah, like, this is the thing. I want, if they go down that Mayweather route, I really hope it doesn't happen. I just can't, because it would just be the total just developing the fighter, and it just wouldn't do it for me, you know, picking unnecessary fights instead of going for the big ones. And especially, let's say Errol Spence or Crawford after that fight, there's probably going to be a rematch clause in that, regardless what happens, if that's going to happen. And yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I hope it doesn't happen, Stella. I really hope it doesn't happen, but you know, it could, because the rumors, you hear the rumor bloody every single day now. Well, Ennis is the only guy who I legitimately could see beating Crawford or Spence other than themselves. Yeah, I'm the same. I think we're forgetting one guy, though. We're forgetting about Ortiz, who I also really rate. I think he's I think he's tremendous as well. I think he has great potential to really challenge one day too. He's big puncher as well. I think a lot of people forget about him. And I that's the fight I would love to see one day, is Ortiz and Ennis one day. I think that would be a huge fight for boxing, because I think he's just as talented as Ennis. Completely different style. You know, Ennis is your slick counter-punching defensive fighter, boxes in the back foot, but they can come forward. But you know, Ortiz is just full-on kind of Canelo Mexican style, puts the pressure on you, looks to hit you with the liver shots. And yeah, I'd love to see that fight one day. But you know, he's with the Zone, I believe, so that could be a bit of an issue. All right, and like I always say, guys, leave your comments below. Any last comments, let me know. Opinion on Wilder coming back to heavyweight. Yeah, I think it's good for the sport that he comes back. I'd like to see maybe Andy Ruiz against, like, maybe someone like Andy Ruiz, a Dillian White, or Anthony Joshua even. Because he'll still have the power to knock those guys out. This is the thing. We all know he's got like the biggest punch in boxing, let's be honest. And I'd like to see. I think he's done himself a bit better, you know, ever since the finishing with the Fury trilogy. I think he raised his stock by that performance. Yeah, he got knocked out, but he did some good stuff in the opening rounds. You know, he was making Fury uncomfortable. He was jabbing and going to the body of Fury, and you could tell Fury wasn't enjoying it. He was looking very uncomfortable. But unfortunately, he just gassed out. I don't know if it's because he kind of muscled up a bit more. That definitely didn't help him. And yeah, it's an interesting one. But hopefully we see him in some big fights in the next couple of years. Will Stokes, I've not heard that regarding Boots and Floyd. That'd be a nightmare. Please no. Ennis belongs at PBC where all the welters are. Yes, I really hope he stays there as well, man. Because that's where all the fights are at welterweight. If you're a welterweight and you want to win a world title, you want to have a big fight, a big payday, you go to PBC. At the moment, that's just the case. Koppa, I'd like to see Boots and who? Sorry, I'm trying to work out who you want. Koppa, comment who you meant, and I'll come back to you in a sec. Will, what are you saying? How do you see Usyk Joshua 2 potentially going? I've been thinking about this kind of recently, and probably going with Usyk to win that. But you never know how all the stuff what's been going on in Ukraine could affect him mentally. But Usyk's one of the most mentally strong guys. You know, you watch all his training breakdowns and stuff. He's very mentally strong, and it must be horrible, like what's going on with like him, like his family and friends, how they're all affected, and then he goes away to a training camp while that's all going on. Friends are dying and stuff. It must be difficult, you know, and you don't know how that's going to affect him. And for that reason alone, I think that helps Joshua, or it could not help him. It could, you know, really motivate Usyk. But I think there was a thing that came out on. Joshua said this recently. He basically said that he's always used natural talent going into any fight, and that he's actually doing a game plan for this fight, which he's never done before, which I find it very hard to believe. I don't know if he's just saying that for the press, just to give them a soundbite, to make it sound as if he's, you know, he's actually going to have a plan for this fight, because he clearly tried to outbox Usyk in the last fight. That was clearly their plan. So I think he's talking a bit of shit there. But at the same time, it kind of makes me a bit worried. Like, oh, now only you're going to go in with a game plan. What have you been doing for the rest of your career? I find it very strange. But I think if Joshua, you know, uses his physicality, puts it on Usyk, very much like ROLLY should do to Davis early rounds, stick it on him. He's a big guy. They're heavyweights. Anything can happen there. I think Joshua could have a chance. But overall, Usyk's just so difficult to get to. His footwork, his jab, he makes it difficult for you. So I can't personally see Joshua winning that. I'm definitely Usyk victory for me. If Ryan versus Tank happens, who wins? At the moment, probably Tank, if I'm being honest. I think Ryan Garcia is a wild card. He could beat anyone. He could come in and beat a big name by like knockout. But then I could totally see him at the same time getting knocked out himself. You know, it's a difficult one. I just think Tank's overall just a better fighter than Ryan. But not to say that Ryan Garcia is terrible or anything. I think he's got a good, obviously, that left hook. But I think when he was with Team Canelo, he wasn't using the jab enough. He kind of turned into a pressure fighter, and that's not really him. You know, I think he needs to be using that jab more and looking to set up that left hook. But probably Tank, if I'm being honest, at the moment. But that would be a good fight. I'd like to see that. Just looking at the time, guys. Yeah, so if you got any last comments, guys, comment anything about the fight this weekend, anything on Canelo, Triple G as well, or video requests, or any questions just in general, just any question, just let me know in the comments, and I'll try and answer them before I finish up. Koppa, Ortiz and Boots is a great fight before Spence Crawford. Yeah, that's a fight I'd love. Like I was talking about, I would love to see that fight. And like I said, I think Ortiz can. He's kind of, like I said, he kind of gets forgotten about. It doesn't help that he's with DAZN, and yeah, hopefully I hope it happens, but it'll be hard to happen with them in different networks. Mohammed, I remember in the last stream I did, so thanks for coming again, man. I appreciate it. I missed what you said about Tank versus ROLLY. What's your prediction? Tank by knockout, like the majority of people think. I had a poll. If you go on my poll on my community page, you can see what most people are thinking. And yeah, I'm kind of going along those lines. However, saying that, Mohammed, I do think that ROLLY has a puncher's chance. It's not like he doesn't have a chance at all. You know, like having watched his fights in the last couple of days, just studying them, he can hit hard, and Davis needs to watch out. He can get clumsy too. So, but overall, yeah, I think Tank KO for me. Larry Liston again. Thanks, man, for commenting. That's a 50-50 fight. Which fight were you talking about? The Ryan Tank fight or the Ortiz Boots? Comment in the chat. Let me know. I'm not too sure. Love Boxing TV. Thanks for joining, guys. Tank versus Romero is engineered beef. I even think Mayweather signed ROLLY just for this moment. Tank wins via KO, in my opinion. ROLLY chin always way up in the air as he closes distance. Good stream. Cheers, man. No, I really appreciate that, dude. Yeah, like I said, if you were here earlier on, I kind of mentioned that how ROLLY kind of leaves his chin out and he kind of admires his work. So he'll land like a big right hand, bring it back, and he kind of admires his work as if, oh yeah, I've landed a big shot, and he gets countered so easily. Speaking about that, I'll get up the clip quickly, if that's okay, guys, just to show Love Boxing TV again, or any of you other guys that are still here. Let me just get it up very quickly. Okay. All right, here it is. So he just kind of admires his work a bit too much, and he just gets clipped far too often. He's just very methodical in his movements and his punches, and yeah, he's got like his left hook's vicious. I'm not gonna lie, but like, you can see his chin's open right there. If you go back a little bit, he kind of leaves his chin open far too often, and kind of wide open, and that definitely worries me for him, especially against Tank. That's a real issue. Even after he punches, he's just he's a big puncher. He's definitely a big puncher, but yeah, it's let's hope he does well on Saturday. That's all I'm going to say. Can you do a Tank Davis video? Yeah, that's definitely on the priority list. I think I said in the last stream I'll try and get that out sometime in the summer, probably. Just because if any of you were here earlier in the stream, you would have heard me say how I make those videos, and basically it can take me up to a week just to make one of those training videos, because I need to do all the research, gather all the clips, just to make sure it's kind of right and spot on. And his with Calvin Ford, his training's really cool. Actually, I really like watching his training stuff. He does a real mix of stuff, defense and power shots and conditioning work. And it's no wonder like he's he's so strong for a little guy, if you watch his training. But yeah, that's on the list, man. I will get it out in the summer at some point. Oh, the Garcia Tank fight. Yeah, like I think it's a close fight. I just still think Tank is just a better fighter overall than Garcia. I'd like to see that fight. That it's an interesting one, and that definitely does intrigue me. But like, it's who Garcia can get the fights with now, because he's just signed with Golden Boy with the Zone. And if Devin Haney's left the Zone, Tank's probably not going to join the Zone. Yeah, it's a difficult one. Like I can't see that fight happening anytime soon. But they're still, Garcia and Tank are still young enough. Maybe in the next few years, you never know what might happen. Will, again, thanks, man. I really appreciate all the comments tonight, dude. Do I think ROLLY legitimately believes what he says, or is he trying to trick himself into believing he wins? Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, maybe. I think he's doing it to hype up the fight. I think and it's definitely helping. Look, I'm doing a live stream on this fight as well. I've wasted my time doing research on the breakdown. So it has intrigued the boxing fans, definitely. And I think that's helped. I think, but that, like I said, it's helped promote the fight more than anything. And I think there is obviously an element of just, I can't, looking at his body language, it seems like he's acting. It looks all like an act. Because, you know, you watch other interviews with guys who have trained with him, they're like, oh yeah, Rolly's a great guy. But yeah, I think maybe a bit of both, but more to sell the fight, in my opinion. Koppa, I got Tank on skills, but he's got to watch the sniper hook and uppercut from Rolly. Yeah, it's that left hook for me. If he can hook over Davis's jab and clip him, that could work. But Davis is very good. You know, he'll probe with the jab. He'll use feints. He makes it very difficult for his opponent to kind of time him. And also, he's very good at inward and outward movement. I'm going to have to share the screen again to show you that, you know, that clip of him doing that. If I get it up. So you'll see here like that in and outward movement. And he probes with the jab, using feints, outward movement. He can be hard to get to. He gets behind his lead shoulder as well for defensive reasons. He's a very slippery customer, I have to admit. And I think Rolly will struggle with that at times. And especially landing that, you know, landing the left hook or that uppercut. You know, like I said, if you were here for the breakdown earlier, he's got to stick it on him very early to have a chance. Yeah, he's not the biggest puncher there. Like, really, do you really think Rolly could beat like a Charlo, a Hurd? You know, it's just no, it's nonsense. Or like even oh, I've forgotten his name. Who Charlo just defeated? Forgot his name. Castano, that's the one. Sorry, I was thinking. I was like, yeah, Castano. Who will Tank sign with? Probably Mayweather Promotions, if I'm being honest. I can't see anyone else. I'd be shocked if he signed for like Top Rank or something like that, but it's just not going to happen. Well, you never know. Eddie said he'll make an aggressive pursuit for Tank if he leaves Floyd, so maybe he could see him on DAZN. You know, Eddie Hearn has that bag. Yeah, that is very true. Also, I guess Eddie Hearn's had some big losses recently. It's not been going all sweet for him at DAZN and Matchroom, and I think he needs to get some big names back in that platform for sure, under Matchroom anyway, because it seemed to not really be going too good for him. Larry, what are you saying, man? Rolly's pretty elusive, got good power, and it is, in my opinion, better than people give him credit for. However, I do think Davis wins, but I welcome an upset. Yeah, so yeah, like I was saying earlier in this stream, Larry, like he is capable of boxing on the back foot. I'm not saying he's just like some puncher like Gary O'Sullivan, who we were talking about earlier. He's not just a big puncher. He can actually fight off the back foot, but he does it after he's thrown these big shots and starts kind of gas a little and to get his breath back. And I want to see, I would like to see him use more of that, and especially in this fight, use his jab, keep Davis off him, poke out, probe with the jab. The only issue is, like I said, he's quite mechanical, methodical with his jab and his other punches, where he kind of admires his work a bit too much, in my opinion. And is that his ego? Potentially, but yeah, he's not a bad fighter at all. He can move. He can, you know, he rolls the shoulder now and again. He is a good fighter, but Tank is just a lot better. And I think Rolly will gas out pretty quickly. Okay, guys, I'll stay another 10 minutes. So if you've got any last questions, I'll answer them, and then I've got to go. But yeah, put in your comments in the chat anything about the fight this weekend, anything in the boxing world, I'll give you my thoughts, or me in general. Let me know. I give Rolly a chance because Tank gets hit quite a lot. Even in the Cruz fight, he got rocked a couple of times, and Rolly hits hard, so I'll give him a chance. Yeah, like, I guess, yeah, that is true. You know, Tank, he gets a bit, I don't know. I feel Tank can gas sometimes as well. He loses the gas in the tank sometimes. So it's a difficult one, man. Like, I think you watch any of Tank's fights, he gets clipped. But you watch any fight, every fighter gets hit pretty much. Not everyone. No one is like Floyd Mayweather. You know, everyone, I think, expects guys to not get hit at all. But Tank's pretty elusive, personally, in my opinion, and he does get clipped now and again, but so does everyone, in my opinion. Mohammed Castano. All right, guys. I believe that is all the comments, unless any of you guys come in. Appreciate any super chats as well. Really helps support the channel. Steve obviously donated earlier. Appreciate it, man. And if you've got any comments on Rolly and Davis this weekend, comment below. Is there anyone that thinks Rolly can win? Like, literally thinks he can win? Comment, let me know. Let me know what you think Davis has to do. Let me know your thoughts on Canelo Triple G. If you're still new here, make sure to like the video. And if you've got any video requests, put them in now before I head off. All right. Okay, Mohammed, thank you for the stream. No, thanks for joining, man. I appreciate it. I remember you from the last stream, so I appreciate it, dude. And I'm going to try do these at least twice a month, but I'm probably going to try bring on guests as well, just so it's not me talking to the camera all night. My voice is already a bit croaky just from talking so much, but yeah, I'll definitely try and do these a bit more often. I do enjoy them. I enjoy engaging with you guys. You've got some good points. It's a good community we built up. So yeah, enjoy it. Thanks, Koppa, man. Appreciate it, dude. So yeah, guys, I think that is it. But I'll just kind of, unless there's any last comments, put them in now, and I'll answer as many as I can in the last kind of 5 minutes. Anything about the fight this weekend? I know I've kind of covered everything. I've covered all my thoughts. You guys probably don't want to hear anymore, but if there's anything else you want to hear, just let me know. I'll give you a couple minutes. And let me know where you're joining from if you're watching from somewhere else, from the UK. I'm from Scotland, if you guys hadn't noticed. Mohammed, thanks for the question. Do you think Fury is really retired? I don't know. I think he's just waiting to see what happens in the Joshua Usyk fight, probably, I reckon. I think yeah, he's just waiting to see, because I think the payday for that is it's so huge, whoever wins, Usyk or Joshua. Personally, I'd love to see the Fury Joshua fight. I think, being from the UK, it would just be massive, absolutely huge. And yeah, I think what else? Sorry, I just saw this other comment you just put. Saw his Instagram stories. He trains like 3 times per. Yeah, like, I think obviously he went through all that depression stuff, so he says he needs to keep himself busy, or else he'll go back down into hell, pretty much. So yeah, I don't blame. It's good. I think it's good that he's keeping fit, and you never know. We'll see what happens if he changes his mind around the fight. We'll go from there. Fitz from Barbados. I'd love to do an accent. Try Barbados. Barbados. I can't do the accent, man. I'm sorry. But good. Thanks for coming from there, man. I appreciate it. Fitz. One more. Mike McCallum. Yeah, I got that request yesterday on my. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago on my Instagram? Someone sent me that request. Definitely. I put him down. I'd love to do that one day. Who else we got? John Thomas. I'm Jack from Philly. Didn't get to hear who you got in short. Also great videos. Thanks, John. Appreciate it, dude. I've got Tank winning by KO. I couldn't pick a round for you, but definitely in the later rounds, I think he'll target the body of ROLLY. In the early rounds, you'll kind of manage to survive an early onslaught from him, and then get openings up top to eventually knock him out in the kind of later rounds. That's kind of my sum up of what I think Davis can do. However, ROLLY, I do think is a big puncher, and I do think he has a chance if he lands one clean shot on Davis. It's totally possible. And thanks for joining, dude. Koppa, you're from Lee Summit, Missouri. Way across the pond. Yeah, man. I don't even know where that is. I want to Google that quickly. Oh, hang on. Sorry, my bad. I want to find out. Missouri? Do you mean Missouri? Oh, Missouri. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, I've never heard of that before. I was like, where the hell is that? Thanks for joining, Koppa. I really appreciate all the comments tonight, man. It's been good engaging with you, dude. It's been good engaging with you, dude. I appreciate it. John, I got Tank too. Yeah, dude, enjoy the fight. Appreciate it. Missouri, yeah, man. Saw that. I was like, it's like misery. Like, is that maybe for some people they live in misery every day, man? But like, yeah, Missouri. There you go. From Russia. Thanks for joining, dude. All right, guys, I'm going to leave that there. Thanks so much for joining this Fight Thoughts podcast. I appreciate all the engagement in the comments. It's been good fun. I've enjoyed it. And make sure to hit the like button just before you leave. It really helps out the channel. And yeah, guys, I just really appreciate the support tonight. And enjoy the fight this weekend. Whoever wins, I'm sure it will be interesting. And I'll probably try and give you my thoughts on a video on Monday, and hopefully get a stream again soon in the future. So yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I'll finish off with this.
I can't keep telling people that he's different. You get it?
You fight pay-per-view. Pay-per-view.
Tank sit there and call himself the one. We know this. You got that type of mindset. It's unreal. The only thing I want to say, the best is to come.
No, it's personal. I want to fuck his face up because I don't like the way he looks. I'm gonna fuck Tank up from round one, non-stop, and he's gonna get knocked down one round.
Bruh, look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No.
Momentarily jolted Romero.